Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A very interesting article from Reuters about Henry Kissinger, the former Secretary of State and the presidential advisor under former President Nixon and Ford. He comes back and he tells the Ukrainians that they should start negotiating with the Russians. That didn't sit well with the Ukrainians, who basically insult Kissinger, calling him an ignorant. Not like that, but telling him that he didn't understand anything. That means he's incapable of understanding things. So let's get going with this article. As I said, it's from Reuters from today, the 18th of December 2022. Kissinger calls for a negotiated peace in Ukraine. Kiev dismisses his proposal. Veteran U.S. diplomat Henry Kissinger said the time is approaching for a negotiated peace in Ukraine to reduce the risk of another devastating world war. But the Kiev government dismissed his comments as amounting to, and I'm quoting, appeasing the aggressor, and said there could be no deal involving giving up territory. Kissinger, who's 99, and an architect of the Cold War policy of détente towards the Soviet Union, as Secretary of State under Republican Presidents Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford, has met Russia's Vladimir Putin multiple times since the first became president in 2000. Since he first became president in 2000, this was mentioned, so they can tell you that he met Putin. That means it's not good. So already it's a little attack on Kissinger's character right here. And I have two more things to add in two more paragraphs that Reuters, they do a job on us here. So it says that there is no end in sight to the conflict sparked by Putin's invasion of Ukraine, which has killed tens of thousands of people and driven millions from their homes. Russia now controls around a fifth of Ukraine. Now, this is what they're going to give us, Reuters. The Kremlin says Kiev must acknowledge Moscow's annexation of southern and eastern regions. Ukraine says every Russian soldier must leave its territory, including Crimea, which Russia annexed in 2014. Kiev applied to join NATO after Moscow announced the later annexation in September. Now, let's look at this one. So they say first that these guys are forming opinion by picking the right terms, and then by ignoring and by omitting other terms. Because if they would mention and use the whole story of the situation, people might understand it differently and they will not get the reaction they intend to get from the reader. And I'm going to explain what's going on. So this paragraph that I just read, they say that Moscow annexed the southern and eastern regions. By saying only that, that means Russia just took them. That's all you know. If you don't know anything of the process involved in that, you would think Russia just got it like that, which is bad, isn't it? Correct. That's the first one. If you know that there were referenda conducted over there, even by the evil Russians, they would change a little bit, okay? And then if you put a referenda being the will of the people, like for instance in Kosovo, that was recognized by the United States, you would say, well, maybe you'll start asking questions and say, why was Kosovo's independence recognized by the United States in the free world? But this guy's independence and, for referenda to join Russia is not recognized. Why is that? And the answer is a dogmatic answer, the ideological answer, because Russia is bad. And you gotta, accept that, no more questions here. And then it says here that they annexed Crimea, it says, including Crimea, which Russia annexed in 2014. Again, ignoring anything else. They don't try to make the balance. They say, yeah, they annexed it through those guys voting to be independent and then voting to be part of Russia. The will of the people, the democracy that these guys like when they win or their weasels are doing what they're doing. Okay? Other than that, no more democracy. Okay? We don't like democracy. And then it says Kiev applied to join NATO after Moscow announced the later annexation in September. You can apply for NATO, but there's no way to follow the procedure of being part of NATO under the current situation, because you are at war with another country, and as far as I know, each country that applies for NATO membership has to provide some signed documents with the neighboring states that they don't have any issues, no territorial demands, no disputes, nothing. Well, how are Ukrainians going to have a signed document with Russia unless Russia is going to be decapitated? How is that going to be possible? Anyway, again, that was the NATO. Now, I'm quoting, "The time is approaching to build on the strategic changes, which have already been accomplished and to integrate them into a new structure towards achieving peace through negotiation," Kissinger wrote in the Spectator magazine. Basically, he says we have to acknowledge that the Russians are not going to give up that, and we have to work within the new framework. You like it or not. What's the other option? Winning? Do you think Russia is going to lose somehow? How are you going to win? Unless Putin and all those guys are going to go to hell, and you put a guy over there that's going to say, yes, you're going to be our masters from now on. Only that, on that scenario, you will get those back. There's no way you're going to get it militarily back. Unless the Russians are just going to shoot themselves in the head and say, yeah, okay, boom, you take everything. Now, a peace process should link Ukraine to NATO. However expressed, I don't think that's going to be workable, Mr. Kissinger. The alternative of neutrality is no longer meaningful, Kissinger wrote. Now, Kissinger said that in May, he had proposed a ceasefire under which Russia would withdraw to the front lines before the February invasion, but Crimea would be the subject of negotiation. That's not going to happen. And Ukraine had 8 years chances under the Minsk protocols to work on that, 2014, 2015, Minsk 1, Minsk 2, to do whatever was necessary, and Ukraine would keep its territory. Yeah, those territories over there in the east with the Russians will have a different status at the beginning, but you still have your country. I don't know what would have been next. I don't know, maybe even Russians would have taken that anyway. Okay. Now, this is another paragraph that is full of weaselship, or however, weaselhood. The conflict in eastern Ukraine became in 2014 after a pro-Russia president, that's a bad thing, was toppled, just toppled, that's all you need to know. No details, by whom, with whom help, who was the traitors, who supported it and who recognized it. Toppled, just toppled, nothing happened. In Ukraine, and Russia annexed then, bad again, Crimea, and Russian-backed separatists who just had no reason for anything, fighting Ukraine's armed forces in eastern Ukraine. So basically, that coup, that illegal overthrow, bloody, because the people died, with the support of outside agencies, which makes those guys, by definition, traitors. Because in the United States, if some people just overthrow the government with the help of Chinese agencies or whatever foreign agencies, those guys are traitors, obviously, besides the fact that it was an elected, official, legal government. Those are traitors. And then immediately they're recognized by a few other countries. You immediately know who was involved. Like the guys who took over Ukraine in 2014 were immediately recognized by the Western countries, the ones with democracy. So a democratic government, elected government was toppled by these guys, and they liked that. It was okay, yeah, the Western countries, they were okay. That's how they like democracy, when they win. And again, they couldn't stand saying, oh, that was a pro-Russia, that's bad. So, I don't know, vote for one that is pro-US. That's how it goes, right? Vote within the system. It's the will of the people, right? And then again, with Russia-backed separatists, they just want to separate because they're bad. And they're supported by Russia. See, Russia was the guys who, planted the seed over there. And then they were fighting the Ukrainian army because the Ukrainian army was just staying like this, and these guys attacked it. Not that the Ukrainian army went to kill its own citizens. No. You see how it's all, if you read this thing to a regular person, a legger around, he's not going to see anything. He's going to have no question. No questions regarding this paragraph. Nothing. You're going to say, yeah, that's the way it is. Yeah. You know why? Because Putin is bad, Russia is bad, and we are the good ones. Don't you feel good about it? Whew, yeah, I do. Anyway, and now I'm quoting this Mikhailo Podolyak, who's a Ukrainian presidential aide. I don't know, he looks like 37, 35, something like this. It's okay. You make your own assessment of that. And this is what this guy tells Mr. Kissinger. Mr. Kissinger, and I'm quoting, still has not understood anything. Okay, that means you're ignorant. Neither the nature of this war, nor the impact on the world order. Ukrainian presidential aide Mikhailo Podolyak said on Telegram. And I'm quoting again. The prescription that the ex-secretary of state calls for, but is afraid to say it out loud, is simple. Okay, tell us what is he saying? Appease the aggressor by sacrificing parts of Ukraine with guarantees of non-aggression against the other states of Eastern Europe. Now, this is a sign of one of the 7 signs of, how do you call that, narcissism. When you think that you are that important, that if you fall, the Eastern Europe will be next and gonna fall, and the whole Europe and the whole world order will topple if I am sacrificed. This is this guy's position. He added, and I'm quoting, is getting even more paranoid, and not paranoid, narcissistic. All supporters of simple solutions should remember the obvious. Oh, okay, we're just so dumb you don't understand the obvious. Any agreement with the devil, we already got in the theology right here, reason and all that, logic is gone. Now it's about believing. Is good and evil. No, the good and evil fight between these two poles. And obviously we know who's who and what's what. A bad peace at the expense of Ukrainian territories. I would be careful with territories, because Crimea was given to you by Khrushchev in 1954. Part of the southern part of, if you look between Black Sea and the Republic of Moldova, that part belonged to Republic of Moldova, to Romania. That's part of Bessarabia. That was again taken and given to you, Ukraine. That was not yours. It was given to you. So again, territories of Ukraine, it's very discussable. That's why all the countries around you, I'm talking about Poland, Romania and Hungary, have problems, territories that belong to them, and they were given to the Soviet Union by Soviet Union, and they gave it to you. Am I missing anything? Is not that a fact? Is that another fact? Why don't you just make a few clicks and find out all those territories, how they were taken and given, under what kind of, you give it to us or we're going to take it, or under, you know, other Second World War, First World War, all kind of things. But anyway, he's using a lot of shit here. And he says a bad peace at the expense of Ukrainian territories will be a victory for Putin and a recipe for success for autocrats around the world. So if we fall, everybody else is going to be emboldened, like the domino, you know, the domino theory in the East Asia with Vietnam, the Americans. Oh, if we don't defend Vietnam and we don't kill everybody over there, then each country in Asia will turn communist. Forgetting that, a few years ago, China turned communist at that time, and there were how many millions of dollars again, millions of people at that time. It's just, you know, but it works. It works with people below 86 IQ and not even. It works. You don't listen. I spoke with intellectuals regarding the current events, and they don't have the IQ of below 86. Intellectuals, you know what I mean? People educated with diplomas, with college degrees, with master degrees, PhDs, and they cannot see through the most logic. And why? They don't accept the information. Can you imagine that? They live in a denial. They don't accept the information. If I tell them, well, you know that actually Crimea was not Ukrainian, right? They will not accept any kind of information I gave them. No. But I look here. Yeah, but they try to frame it in a different way, just like this. Yeah, but it was from 54, it was, and then in 1991, when Ukraine became independent from the Soviet Union, then it was there. Nobody said anything. So it's Ukrainian. It's like I move in your house, stay illegally. I stay there, I don't know, 20 years. You want to get me out? And I say, well, I've been in your house 20 years. You can't get me out. This is my house as well, because I stayed here illegally 20 years. So it's mine. Or a month, let's say. I make it 20 years. A month. I've been here a month. You couldn't get me out. Now I said a month is a long time. Now the house is mine too. But anyway, So, Kremlin officials, this guy makes everything around the world. They are, again, paranoid. If I fall, the whole world is going to be changing. It's changing right now. You create a multipolar world right now, and that's good because of the diversity. We love diversity, don't we? Yeah. So, you know, this is with Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger knows as much as he knows. We know as much as we know, and that's it. But what's the alternative? The Russians will not lose. The only way they lose is when Putin and all those guys are going to be taken care of, and they put a vassal guy over there, a weasel, who's going to do whatever the Americans want him to do, or her maybe, or maybe, I don't assume the gender nowadays, you know what I mean? I'm sorry. And probably it's going to be whomever, and it's going to be turning again to Russia from 1991 to Russia 1999, which was at everybody's expense. Do whatever you want to Russia, is get all the resources, don't care about the Russians, and that's it. So yeah, and Podolyak calls Kissinger an ignorant. He can, that's his right, but I think by making those statements shows who's the ignorant one and who's the narcissistic one. But hey, he has to say that because that's the country he lives in. I pick my words carefully. Not his country. Thank you very much for being with me again today. He doesn't own it. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.